Hello, welcome to ArtRant, and this is part 4 of my painting process. After all the preliminary color studies and drawings, this is the final product. And to be honest, this painting was actually very easy to paint once I did all the preliminary work. I already knew the color palette that I was going to use. I used so few colors here. Red, yellow, white, some purple, and alizarin. It may be like a little bit of ochre here, some earth colors. Because they're on a red background, they actually look green, but in real life, they're earth tone colors. And when I look at a painting, even if it's a portrait, it doesn't matter what the painting is, I first look at it as an abstract image. So with this painting, it's very straightforward. The painting is just about the portrait. It is just about the figure. But what keeps your eye here and what keeps the viewer's interest is actually the abstract structure of the painting. And this is so easy to create because if you like portraits, if you like to paint people, that's what's most important to me. I really enjoy capturing lifelikenesss of an individual. But at the same time, if this was just a portrait on a blank background, the visual interest falls short. So here I'm using very basic geometry. A line down the center. Other lines like this, this. Almost kind of a division of fourths. This is not exactly a fourth, but whatever, it's close enough. A fourth, a fourth, a fourth, a fourth. Kind of like a golden section thing here. So this is a quadrant, this is a quadrant, and then division radiates from there. In a painting, I like simple geometry because it sets a nice contrast for complex features and stuff. It supports it, doesn't distract the viewer from the portrait. And textures are also so fun to paint. This was a challenge to paint this kind of North Face shiny jacket. Here I was thinking, how do I paint this gridded, padded, kind of nylon texture without going overboard? Because this is kind of the magic of oil painting. How do you paint something that is so complex and kind of a pain to depict, but in an effortless way? How do you simplify such a complex visual like clothing pattern, like buildings, like hair, in a way where it's lifelike, but you still know exactly what it is? And that's one of the main reasons why we like Sargent so much, because he paints so much but with so little effort. And that's kind of a sign of mastery. And all the technical crap aside, what was the main reason for this painting? And I would say color and saturation. Here I'm really looking at how do I paint a contemporary visual, which is very saturated because present day visuals are not like the past. They're very saturated, very synthetic in their lighting. So how do I paint that? What effects does light create? And all I am thinking about here in this painting is basically light and saturation. I also like duality as a theme in my painting. So here it's two complementary colors. So there's a very strong red color coming in from this part, a very dense and saturated red light. And then from this part, there's actually a yellow light. But when mixed with flesh tone, it actually isn't yellow anymore. It's yellow here as a reflection on a metallic surface. But on flesh, it mixes with flesh color, so it becomes kind of like a greenish color. So red and yellow, and that's it. That's the whole painting. I also think of my paintings as a diary. Also, I think it's most challenging for an artist to actually paint scenes from their life. You don't need to embellish things, just paint things that you see. So during 2020 and during quarantine, the subways were basically shut down. So a lot of people did a lot of walking in the middle of the night. And this was when I took the reference photo. There's a USPS truck in the background, and this was around 11th Street in New York. There's like a billiards bar hall kind of thing, and the light on that corner was so beautiful. But at the same time, it had kind of like a red danger kind of emergency kind of feel to it. And I wanted to put a figure in that light. And a figure as is. I don't pose people too much. I want to capture a portrait and a lifelikeness of the person as they are. There's a great ability of a portrait artist and of a painter in general to paint a person as they are in a setting where the individual looks more like themselves, and in saturated colors that actually look like them. They enhance the figure. And this painting is 22 inches by 22 inches, so the figure is actually lifelike. When you stand next to the portrait, it's a life-size portrait. And I'll do a whole video on significance of the size of the figure in the painting and what it means. Because is it subjective? No, it's not. The size of the figure within the canvas, within the visual window into your reality that you are making, it's very, very important. So here I chose a lifelike size for the portrait because it was most important for me to capture reality and a sense of present day, like nowness of the moment, of walking with someone through New York City. New York City that we may not see the same way again, of a city that's completely empty and you just seeing another person in this synthetic saturated city light.